your own YouTube and X account to it, and it would stream automatically to your channel as well. I believe that's a possibility. 99% sure that's possible. So yeah, in the future, I think we can actually double team the stream and just get it out everywhere. And
let's do that.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that can happen. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're going live now. Okay, let me get the link. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Wolf. Welcome to Trading Education. We've been running this stream a few weeks now. I basically just am like, okay, who are the traders that are awesome, that I trust, who wants to jump on stream with me? And let's do it. And with me and Dom, at least he kind of came on the last few weeks, just coming on a lot of our spaces. We just vibe together really well. I really like his charts. I really like the way he thinks as a trader. I'm trying to get better. And I'm like, okay, we need to amplify this man, even though he's doing a great job himself. So yeah, man, it's just me and Dom today. We're going to talk about XRP charts, probably pull up Trump, maybe Bitcoin, and do a little bit of education. Hopefully pull a little bit of alpha from Mr. Dom. But how's it going, dude?
Doing well. Yeah, we definitely have some alpha to share here. So it should be a good stream.
Dude, okay. So real quick, let's just do like 2-minute high level overview. Where are you at mentally with everything that just happened in the last 24 hours?
Totally. I think that, simply put, the market has been really expecting Trump to come out with executive orders. I think that that's simply what this market looks like. And last night, I believe it was right here, he was signing these executive orders, and he finished off without mentioning crypto, and then the market just freaked out right away. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that the market has held up pretty well. And in my opinion, I think that they're poised to come out with some type of action this week. I think that it just makes sense. And considering that the Trump family, the World Liberty Fi, purchased almost $100 million of crypto yesterday,
yeah,
I just don't see them losing on that. I definitely think that that's strategic, and logically speaking, they might be waiting a little bit longer to continue to fill their bags. So that's kind of my, quick just overview. I think that the market, as we've said for weeks, they really want to see Trump do something. So I think that we're really hinging on that. And the longer this market can hold up here, I think the better.
Yeah. Well, one thing also that's interesting is a lot of people were like, he bought a bunch of Bitcoin, and then I found it was Raft Bitcoin. And they're like, okay, so it's on ETH actually. So a lot of people have moved over Solana to ETH, but it's really hard to fade Solana. I feel like every time we fade Solana, you get wrecked. So I think people are trying to figure out, you're like, okay, is it too late now? Have I faded it enough times where now the time I jump in, it actually does flip over and the attention moves to ETH? It's really interesting, bro, that they bought a bunch of Ethereum. I have no clue. I know it's a DeFi project, this World Liberty thing. I don't know. I could be wrong here. This is pure gut feeling. I feel like we might range for kind of a while here. I know we just rocketed, and I always thought we'd have like a pretty big correction, but now I'm sitting here, I'm like, I wonder if we might just range here for a while. And I know that if people think we were going to range, that alts are just going to send. And I know we just got this massive liquidity from Trump. I don't know what it is in my head. I don't know if enough people got rich from that token versus the amount of people who got in at the top and lost money. So I don't know what kind of liquidity we're looking at from that in terms of regular normal people who are going to be able to inject that into altcoins. So I'm kind of at a standstill, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I think that, the time that we're at in the market, a lot of these altcoins, we'll scroll through later in the stream. They really have not been doing too well recently. And there's only been a few that have held up well and have had pretty good outperformance. And I think that the fact that we had a lot of new people enter the space, I think that all around, I think that a lot of the onboarding, they said over 1 million people entered the space after this Trump token and was put on chain. So inevitably, you'd think that, people see the Trump token, they want to look for more opportunities, and then they might lose a bunch of money. But then crypto just has this ability to keep pulling people back. And I think that those people will eventually get pulled back into quality projects, or at least what they perceive to be quality projects. So I think that it's a net positive overall. I think we're at the time in the cycle where we need that retail to flood in. So, it makes sense to me that a lot of these people, even if they lost money on Trump, they're probably going to be testing the waters, around the top 100 and other coins. So as of right now, I think it's still a net positive. Granted, they don't keep coming out with meme coins and the market doesn't keep freaking out about it. Yeah. I think it's a net positive, and we might look back in a few months or a year and say, wow, that was a mass onboarding event.
Yeah, I agree with you. That Trump token was crazy. I'm not sure what's the thing on Melania. I literally threw $100 but it corrected so bad. But then it started to round out the bottom on Melania and Trump. And I'm like, dude, I've been here way too long and seen way too many tokens recover for no reason. So I just said, I'm like, $100 is literally nothing in this context of meme coin land for me. I know a lot of people ape in thousands and thousands. I think it's a high risk play at this point because of the amount of money that got into that token. So I literally threw in $100, but I could totally see it running back and just flying. Because that play is basically the play of this runs up to like Dogecoin level. That's really what that play is for me. I'm not so sure about trading the chart though. But anyways, I know this chart we want to focus on XRP. I know some people are probably here just for the XRP talk as well. So I'm sure we'll get to that. But I'd love to turn it back over to you. I know you got charts pulled up. What kind of stuff are you looking at, man? What should we run through?
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely run through XRP, maybe look at Sol, Ethereum, Bitcoin. You know, if anyone else is watching and they want to have any requests, be glad to cover those as well. But just before we move on from the Trump idea, I definitely agree that this probably inevitably does reach Doge levels. I don't know when that would be. You know, that might be months away. But I think as a trader, I think that this is going to be an awesome gauge for what Trump does in his presidency. And it's going to be super fun to be trading this token. It's like we now have an official Trump token. Yeah. All of his actions are probably going to be reflected at some point once it settles down and fits itself in the market. So, you know, I also saw it within 30 minutes of it launching, completely faded it. You know, a lot of us thought that it was a complete scam right away. And, you know, of course it ran. So I haven't played with it at all, but that doesn't mean I don't think that it will eventually probably go higher. You know, I think it also will be important to see how the team reacts to the unlocks. So all of the 80% that's vested up, if those get unlocked and they start mass dumping, you know, that's probably going to put a little damper in the chart. So I think it's going to be fun. But either way, my best opinion on it is it's going to be an awesome thing to trade when Trump's doing press conferences or he, you know, drops the ball on something or people perceive him to do something really well. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be super fun.
Agreed. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm looking at this chart as well right now. I think for people, what's worth noting is, at least for me, I was sitting here looking like, how has this chart not crashed all the way down? Because so many people got in early. And I'm like, okay, they must have taken the profits that they could. Because at this point, it's rounded out pretty kind of a lot. And so I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So you're right. The unlocks, though, I am nervous about. Melania token especially. That I think that has like a 30-day vesting period. Trump has a little bit longer. Melania, I'm very nervous about. I threw that one in fully expecting to lose all my money with Melania, even though it rounded out.
Yeah, it seemed like people did a little deeper dive onto the Melania one, and it was a lot quicker. I think that the website was created like 2 days before, and it was done by a completely different company or whoever launched that. So that one, and I definitely don't have anywhere near as much confidence that it will stick around compared to the Trump one, of course. But I think that let's start off with Sol. I think that Sol's a really interesting one. You know, on our spaces, Bits of Wealth was also talking over the last few weeks about Sol potentially outperforming. And sure enough, you know, maybe we didn't predict that the reason it would outperform is because the Trump token launched. But, you know, Sol silently put in an all-time high. The only thing I don't like on the short term is it kind of deviated that all-time high. We could see a big wick above that. So I think that's a clear line in the sand right now. But overall, I think that the way that this high time frame chart looks on Sol, it just makes sense that it's probably going to go higher. Granted, the market puts in another leg. And, you know, I think Trump picking to launch on Sol, it really sent a message for a lot of people on the sidelines as well. They're like, oh, wow, the president is picking Solana for a chain to bootstrap, you know, capital or however people want to look at that launch. So overall, I think Sol already won this cycle. And I know a lot of the Ethereum maxis and the people that love Ethereum, they don't like to see that. But I think that Sol already won in the sense of DeFi, in the sense of, you know, meme coin trading and its ability to process millions of transactions and whatnot. So I still have a good outlook on Sol. I think that a good target for Sol, considering Bitcoin puts another leg to 120, 130, 140, 150, I think that Sol can reach probably $400 or $500. I know there's a lot of targets of 1,000 and above. I'm not sure that the market has that much steam in it unless we're going to completely deviate from the cycle theory and we'll just do mini corrections in between. I think that Sol, a good target's 350 to about 500.
Wow. You know, one thing also with the meme coins, it makes total sense. I mean, I don't think Ethereum can ever compete. It's just too slow. It's too expensive. There's just no way to do the level of degen that you need, and the quickness and speed and the phantom wallet instant sell. I mean, we had a little bit of issues with the fact that there were 8 million transactions like a second or something that they needed to process. So that was crazy. But I mean, that was a huge learning opportunity for Solana. And like, okay, we need to go back to the drawing board, because if anything like that happens again, we've got to be able to have that down pat. It's just not even possible on Ethereum.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think it's interesting that Vitalik came back and said he was going to do reforms to the Ethereum Foundation. He said that they were going
I missed that.
Yeah, he's been kind of, people say he's like spazzing out in a way, because that was kind of the final nail in the coffin for Ethereum in some people's eyes. And of course, Ethereum's underperformance has just been, it's been really embarrassing, to be honest. So if we pull up Ethereum, it'll be a good transition to talk about Ethereum. So I know a lot of people are interested in it. If we pull up Ethereum here and put it against Sol.
And this is actually cool because DNW is asking, looking forward to XRP, but also how about a quick 2022 discussion, like some of these older coins, ADA, HBAR, I would say XRP and Solana are still in that camp. There are a lot of these OG coins that a lot of people remember. So I think that's a great question, DNW. I think we'll get to that at some point for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely mention that. But here, just before we move on, here's the Ethereum denominated in Sol chart. So as we can see, Ethereum has it's really been bleeding against Sol, and it just can't catch a breath. It just, since the cycle bottom, we could consider the cycle started right here about January 2023, and it's just been down only since. So for those that are watching and are holding Ethereum, I think that, you know, to sit here and predict when it's going to outperform has been a futile pursuit. People have been trying to do that the whole time, this whole cycle, and people have continued to fail. I think that it's better, at least me personally, I'd rather be late to the party than to show up at the wrong one. So for me personally, if Ethereum starts showing signs and it starts breaking out on, you know, structural levels like 4.1K here, above this, you know, we start seeing strong outperformance, I think that makes sense to hop on Ethereum. But to sit here and try to predict when it's going to outperform, I've just seen too many people get carried out on that approach. So me personally, you know, something like it showing signs at least against Sol, maybe breaking its downtrend it's had. So, you know, Ethereum's been definitely the talk of the cycle. At least its outperformance has been the talk of the cycle.
Thank you for bringing that up, because one thing you and Bits do that I think it's just experience and just knowledge and wisdom. This is why I'm so glad we're doing these streams, because I've seen people do it. I just never thought to put up an ETH for Sol. It's always ETH USD, Sol USD. Like it's always how like the average trader, I think, is looking at it. They would be like, why would I pair Sol versus ETH? It's like, well, it's a bunch of reasons actually. This is one of them. You know, this is how you know if you can choose a winner. I mean, how you're saying like Solana is the clear winner here. It's not even remotely close, but you might not be able to come to that conclusion, you know, without seeing this.
To put it in example, Ethereum has bled 92% compared to Solana. So essentially, you know, there's many ways to look at that, but if you bought Ethereum and Sol right here, you essentially lost 92% compared to the strongest asset in, you know, the top. Yeah, it's really embarrassing. But to be honest as well, this was kind of shown, and if you just give me a second here, I could pull up and try to drag the picture up here of Ethereum. Essentially, I tracked the Ethereum wallets on chain holding a certain amount of Ethereum earlier this cycle. And let's see, this was February 4th. Let me see if I could pull this up and drag it on my chart. Perfect. So this right here, I posted this on February 4th, 2024. And I essentially said, what's going on with ETH holders? And this showed the addresses that were holding greater than 1 Ethereum, just completely down only. And for comparison, let me see if I could pull up another one here. This was the Bitcoin chart, about equivalent amount. So that was 0.1 Bitcoin. So at the time, it was about $5,000. Look at the amount of wallets holding over 0.1 Bitcoin. And then if we throw a little bit even more comparison on here to bring home the point, here is the XRP charts at that time of wallets holding greater than 10,000 XRP. So to me, you know, this to me is what matters. Are people accumulating or are they distributing? And I saw it, you know, over a year ago that people were distributing their Ethereum. So people can say, oh, this is because they staked This is because they moved their Ethereum to a different chain. To me, none of that matters. If Ethereum is growing as a blockchain, we should see the addresses holding Ethereum reflect that. So to me, it was no surprise. I was positioned very accordingly. My two heaviest assets this cycle were Solana and XRP. And the reason why is because of the sheer outperformance that I saw kind of on the on-chain data. And Ethereum really was just, very lackluster in that. So yeah, any thoughts on that, Cade? Because a lot of people don't bring up those charts, and it's a really hidden metric that I've looked at for a long time. We see XRP here, Bitcoin, and then Ethereum.
Wow, that isn't very, very cool graphic to see. That's fantastic. That's on TradingView, or where is this is Coinmetrics?
It's called Coinmetrics. Yep.
Okay, that's really, really cool. I love that. And that's a really good observation too. That's right. Like no matter what the case is, there should be more people accumulating if this is baller. Damn, look at DNW also. I guess he was big in XRP as well. Yeah, that is awesome stuff. I see in here also someone saying, is there a way to add Sui to the ETH SOL comparison to bring all three together? I know Sui was one that a lot of people were excited about for a while, and then it felt like it just on the timeline at least, it felt like interest dropped off a little bit.
Totally. Yeah. We could do that. We can't add them all three together. Or we could kind of make a metrics, but it's best just to compare one to the other. But before we do that, there was one other post I made from the FTX low, which was of course really the bottom for a lot of these assets, or at least Bitcoin. Here was the Ethereum addresses holding over 10 Ethereum, just completely down only. And I actually made these last week, so these were very, very recent. And then look at the XRP wallets since the FTX.
That's insane. That is actually insane.
So people don't look at this. They kind of just look at the chart and, they just hold on to hope that something's going to outperform. But in my honest opinion, we want to look at the on-chain data. Are more people buying it or are more people selling it? And there was a clear winner there. So that's kind of my quick rundown of why Ethereum has been lackluster. And it really is the gas fees, like you said. People can't ape like they do on Solana. And I think that it's good, though. I think that crypto needs to evolve with the technology, and that's what we're seeing. I don't think Ethereum's dead yet, but it really needs something to kickstart its relevancy again.
Well, one thing that brings to mind is I had that guy, his name was Adrian. He came on a lot of our spaces. He's a big Bitcoin guy. And I just figured his opinion held. I figured his opinion was because he was a Bitcoin guy. But now as we get deeper in the market, I'm like, I wonder if he was right. There's a few clear winners with altcoins. Some altcoins are going to run. But his point was that he was like, hey, there's too many coins. He's like, we're not going to see what you saw last cycle. There's too many out there now. So he was like, it's better to choose one or two winners. He goes, Bitcoin's one. And then I don't know if he's an ETH bull, but I know Bitcoin was the conversation. And I thought about that. Like, wow, a lot of these coins are losing to Bitcoin. If you held Bitcoin and just held it for the last year, you might be doing okay without all the crazy extra volatility. You probably wouldn't be nearly as inclined to sell. It's really, really interesting, man.
100%. I mean, if we just scroll through here and look at most of these charts compared to Bitcoin, I mean, they just keep bleeding. They just keep bleeding. We could just keep going through, and most of these coins, they just, besides a little bit of outperformance. I mean, here's Axie Infinity, one of the best performers of the 2021 cycle. I even had some charts up here from that top back in 2021. But most of these, they've really just continued to bleed and bleed. So you're absolutely right. But yeah, to go on to the question there about the ISO currencies, I think that's something super interesting, and it kind of is a good segue into XRP as well. We'll cover XRP right after this.
Oh, the noodle chart. Let's go. It's real when Dom pulls out the noodle chart, baby.
Absolutely.
The northern lights are here.
We love the spaghetti charts.
Oh, that's what it is. Spaghetti. Yes, spaghetti charts.
Yeah, the spaghetti charts. But you know that I've talked about this a lot on the spaces, Cade, that the outperformers this cycle, they've been very interesting. They've all been those ISO currencies, those ISO 20022 compliant currencies. And to me, that's not a coincidence. We have XDC number 1 top performer since 2025. XRP, then I think that's Radium just recently popped up there because of the Solana, meme craze. Radium's the number 1.
Wait, are you bullish on that long term, or is that more of a play to hold Solana instead? Because Radium is a specific part on Solana.
It's an interesting thing. So I actually happened to buy Radium at 17 cents at the bear market level. And I actually took profit on it in the summer at about $3. So I'm out of Radium, and of course it's went higher, but I almost pulled a I think it was almost a 2000% on it. So I'm definitely still bullish on it. I don't own any anymore because I was very happy with my profits. But I
Sure.
think that radium is going to continue to be relevant. It's like the Uniswap of Solana. So I think that the more volumes, the more fees that they're generating, logically the higher radium will go.
Mm.
But to get back to the conversation here about the ISO currencies, we have Link on there, also US based, Solana, US based, HBAR, and then what else was there under there? I think that Algo and HBAR were and these being the top performers. To me,
Oh,
that really
Dom, you
signals
cut out for
something.
like
And
you cut out for like 10 seconds or like 8 seconds there, right at the end.
can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good now. I just missed the very last part.
Yeah, I was just saying that these ISO currencies, these ISO 20022, I don't know if it's just complete marketing, but to me, I look at this and I say, what is the market trying to tell us? Why is XDC, XRP, HBAR, Solana, Cardano, why are those all the top performers? So I think that we could just speculate. I think that anything more would probably just be kind of conspiracy. But a lot of people, I'm not huge on the fundamentals, but I've had a lot of people in my comments say that there's something happening in March regarding the Federal Reserve allowing some type of payments to happen, that the SWIFT, the whole kind of global network of payments is going to be upgrading to this ISO standard. And people believe that's why these currencies are outperforming. So I think that a lot of that is probably speculation. But, if we sit here and we say, why have these coins performed the best?
Yeah.
That's really the only thing I can pinpoint it to. It's really the only thing I can pinpoint it to.
Well, the other thing is, I mean, we just saw with the Trump, but a lot of times when people are saying, hey, sell the news, people think that means after the announcement comes out. I'm like, no. Then you're with everybody else. You have to sell before the news comes out. The speculation is we don't know what's going to happen. So like with Trump, it started to run up a little bit. We obviously it crashed before, prior. But
Totally.
The anticipation of what's coming next week, sometimes selling it a little bit earlier ends up paying off. You never know, because there are situations where the announcement sends it up. But in my opinion, more times often than not, you're better off selling news way before. But it requires you to get in earlier before people found out is the hard part. And hopefully these streams can help people. It's definitely going to help me because you've already pulled out 3 separate tools that you use that I've never used in my life. So I really hope people are enjoying this.
Totally. I mean, the way that I found success in the market is to do things that others aren't. Because if we're looking at what everybody else is doing, you don't usually have an edge. So to find the edge in the market and to kind of extrapolate on those missed opportunities or those things that you expect to happen that the market hasn't caught on to yet, I kind of use these random metrics and these random denominations to kind of give me just a good view. And before we wrap up on the ISO conversation, I saw Josh in the comments said, because they're all banking solutions, 100% correct. And it's not speculation. So once again, I'm not the pro on that, but everything I've heard has said that these coins, they can easily be woven into the current financial system. So once again, a lot of people on CT would probably say you're saying complete nonsense. But if we sit here and say, what has the market told us? It's told us since the election, HBAR, it liked the most in the top 100. Virtual, that kind of popped in. BGB token, that also popped in. But beyond that, we have XRP, XLM, XDC, and we see over here, Algo, CRV, IOTA, ADA. Those are all of those ISO currencies. So, not to keep banging the same drum, I just think that it's super important as an investor in this market to see what the market's telling you. And the market has told us that it likes these currencies.
Yeah. Telling us. And if you get upset about that, it's like, you're probably not cut out for this because you have to be able to just say, here's what the situation is. This is what it's telling us. Here's an interesting thought as well. In my opinion, Trump is highlighting all the problems in crypto. Solana slowness, ETH gave, BTC, no utility. I don't know about that. I feel like the Solana, this was I've never seen any. This was probably the craziest thing that's ever happened in my experience in crypto, and it's not even remotely close. So for me, I'm not that mad that Solana kind of crapped the bed a little bit. But he says after this exposure, he'll introduce a solution. That's a really interesting thought because I could see that if he brings out a solution by highlighting problems. I don't know if Solana's slowness is the problem so much, but I could see him having something to do with a solution that he provides. And then it's possible that something with Solana, I mean, he did buy into a lot of ETH, so it's possible ETH has some kind of thing coming. But that's an interesting observation, Josh.
Yeah, it is. It 100% is. I think there's a lot of speculation, and I agree. I think that the last week, Cade, has probably been one of the funnest times I've seen in my 7 years in the space. It was just. I mean, we keep getting these curveballs getting thrown right at us, and I think it's awesome. It makes this market the best market in the world. I don't think anything else compares. It's just always so fun. It's like I've been glued to the screens, glued to the news feed. It's like, what's going to come out next? If Trump says one word, it's like you got 100x long. The market's probably just going to gap up.
Long.
It's where we're at. But all right, so you mind if I dive a little bit more into XRP here?
Please.
Cool. So yeah, I think that over the last few days, XRP had a perfect retest of its previous high in December, and a lot of coins obviously haven't even broken above that. And I gave this path about 6 days ago, and it played out near perfect. And I think that XRP here, it's looking really strong. It's looking super, super strong. And overall, I think that short term, that should be the low. Granted that Trump doesn't drop the ball. I think that should have been the low. And I think that anyone that's holding XRP, a quick drop down to 270 as well would not be too bad. And the reason why is a lot of the people that follow me, they know that I use these VWAPs here. So these are VWAPs that I place on significant turning points throughout the chart. And we could see that they all kind of came together here. And when we had these retests in this zone, it was a very strong signal that this is going to be the low if this is going higher. So this I positioned very well on this, told all of my followers that, I was positioning down to about 220. And of course, the market XRP ran up about 50%. And I know that a lot of people have impatience. And one thing I find interesting is XRP was at 50 cents for years. Years and years and years, XRP was stuck at 50 cents. And just to show where we're at in the cycle, just in the last few days, XRP moved 55 cents. So where it was at for years, it moved in just a few days. So, to me, the volatility is here. And I think as long as XRP in the short term is holding this 285, 290 region, I think that it's looking bullish. And if I get rid of all of these scribbles here, to me, this chart doesn't look like it's weak. This looks like it wants higher. People can look at this as a bull flag. I think that it's, of course, dependent on Bitcoin as well.
Sure.
If we move over to Bitcoin here, Bitcoin has really been the talk of the cycle in terms of, its outperformance of these altcoins dropping anytime Bitcoin does a little bit of a pullback. And I think that we're still at that point where we kind of just need to focus on Bitcoin here. And I made a post the other day or I think it was last night, as long as Bitcoin's holding the 97 to 99, we stay in bullish territory. And I also use these VWAPs here. It just gives me an average level of kind of that over and under. And we could see since the election, we spent the most time, this orange level here, about 97K. So Bitcoin here, just to me, in the simplest view, if Trump comes out with anything these next few days, I think Bitcoin's going to absolutely rocket to 110, 115, 120. Just to me, the way that this chart looks, the way that it's primed, I think that if we see anything, that's why I made that joke. People are going to pile into longs. And I think with us being a few percent away from all-time high, what are we? I think we're 2-3% away from all-time high. I think that it's it's just waiting. The market's waiting for that little just drink, that little gasp of air from Trump. And I just think that things will go crazy again. So one other thing before we move on here from XRP, and I'll show some heat maps at the end when we switch over to my browser. These are all my custom denominations that I always talk to you about and Bits talks about here. So I have them really set up for Bitcoin, XRP, and then Sol. So if we just go through all of this, and people were curious how I predicted this next leg up on XRP, it was essentially looking at these custom denominations. So instead of looking at XRP compared to the US dollar, I looked at XRP compared to total. We looked at total 2, total 3, the others market cap, which is the top 125 minus the top 10. And then we just kept looking through XRP Bitcoin, XRP Ethereum, XRP BNB. You could see that this is it's holding its value extremely well compared to the rest of the market. And to me, unless that these really show some signs of breaking structure, I think that XRP is still it's perfectly poised for any little bit of news regarding US-based cryptos or anything. I think XRP is going to inevitably try to break probably its most important resistance in history, which is where we're at right now. And if I just scroll through here, we can see that XRP has really been outperforming a lot of this market. So I think that it's still poised. I think that if this market goes higher, XRP is probably going to be a top performer again. And the reason why is because we could just look at it compared to even Doge. Doge has been pretty strong, but look, Doge put in its high in December, November, still has not broken that. XRP has broken that. And we can even look at, ADA, AVAX. I mean, it's really been outperforming everything, even XLM, SUI even. We could just keep going through. So in my honest opinion, XRP is still in a really good position. And this 280 to 290, that's my current line in the sand. And I still wouldn't even rule out a very quick 260, 270 drop. And then we would need to see it very short-lived. And the reason why that's fine is because, once again, we look at all these VWAPs. We're well above. We are well above these VWAPs. So unless XRP kind of accepts back into the range it was in for almost a month and it breaks below these VWAPs, this is still an uptrend. And I think that anyone that's getting concerned about this short-term movement, to me, I think it's just noise right now. And going back to the same thing, the market is just waiting for Trump to just come out and just, say something, do something, do whatever. And I think that this market is just completely ready for its next leg. And we hop over to
this will be you could literally get famous from this call out. I have not heard anyone say anything this close to like a call out for XRP to go cent. Literally, I've not heard anyone spoil. Okay, of course, that's not true. The XRP, the classic XRP army people, but I've never from a technical angle explained like this. I've never seen before.
Totally, because I mean, I don't want to insult or comment on anyone else, but a lot of the XRP community, it's full of hopium. It's full of people calling for $30, $40, but they don't give any data behind it. They don't give any reasoning. And all of my reasoning has been backed by some type of data. So, you could say this is when I was bullish in XRP. Of course, I'm still bullish here, but, the trade is played out already. Mainly the trade's already played out. Most of the gains, I think, have already happened, 550%. I don't think XRP's got 500% left in it. 6, 7, 8, maybe up to 11, 12. I think with a normal cycle that we're looking at, that makes sense. So maybe another 100%, 200%. I think that's kind of what I'm looking at there. But overall, you're absolutely right. XRP has been one that's caught many by storm. And before the Trump token, where was all the attention? It was on this. So, if the Trump token kind of dwindles away a little bit as everyone in crypto becomes impatient, I could totally see the market kind of jump right back on because, when Bitcoin pulled back down to 100K, XRP popped 20% after. Look at how strong buyers were just sitting there waiting. They just wanted to gobble up that dip. And to me, that just shows strength. So I'm still under the impression that 280, 290, that's holding. I think that this is poised for next leg up.
Wow. That would be insane. Nathan, I see Nathan next in the house. What's up, Nathan? Dude, yeah, I still am in disbelief. But like I said, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen in all of crypto. At 7 billion, I said this has got to be tops. Every single time it topped, I said it had there's just no way. I still can't believe it went to $75. I have never seen anything like that. Yeah, I totally Seuss. I mean, I'll say this: it was an irrational play from Seuss to try and throw half of his entire net worth into Trump at 13 billion. I'm not mad about that because that's more of a strategy issue. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it totally wrecked. Damn, my bad, Seuss. RIP. Yeah, Nathan says I was sleeping. That's even worse, bro. If I missed the whole thing, I would cry. But it did hurt pretty bad watching it being awake and saying, oh, 46 mil or 46 or what was it? $46. Definitely tops. Take a 20-minute nap. It's at 60. I'm like, okay, definitely tops. And then, and then we all ate at 75. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, dude. If XRP performs, though, this would be a really interesting video to come back to.
Totally. Yeah, it 100% will. And before actually we move on, instead of going over all the charts I have on XRP, that'd take a little too long. I'll just show you why I think that XRP, if it manages to break its level it's at now, the USD chart's at its all-time high, and the dominance. This just shows the dominance of the total crypto market cap. Right now, it owns about 5% of the market cap. And we've been stuck under this level for 2,000 days. So in my honest opinion, I have a lot of confluence here. For anyone watching, I'm sure they saw my detailed analysis of it. But if XRP breaks the level it's at right now, I think that we're going to see about 100% move. And when I say 100% move, it's all based on data. Logically speaking, anytime we broke above this level, we could see we went right to that. We broke below, went right to this level. Broke back above, went right to that level. Held that level, went right there. Same thing, got rejected, came right back there. So logically speaking, it says that there's a lot of there's gap in here. So that's why I think that XRP is battling its most important resistance. I have like 10 different charts that kind of show this confluence here. And any break, I think XRP is poised for at least 50 to 100%. So it's going to be a fun next few weeks, fun next few days. I'm not here to make crazy predictions on what's going to happen. I just go by the data. And I think that, all the data says that we're at that level where it's going to melt even more faces. And all the people that hate it, you know why they hate it? Because it stared at them for 10 years in the top 10 and they faded it. They told all their friends it was a scam. And sure enough, it's been one of the best performers of large caps this entire cycle. So, the proof's in the pudding. People say XRP, it's a scam. The Ripple holds 40% of the supply. It's like, if we're going to sit here and disagree with what the market's telling us, that's fine. But the market obviously finds value in it. And that's not up for discussion. It's now the top third biggest crypto. So, the people love the XRP. I mean, the XRP community goes deep. They are really, really a big community. And I think that it's been shown recently. And I think that it's going to be a fun next few weeks. But before we move on here to anything else that you wanted to cover, any other questions you had, one other thing I wanted to show on Bitcoin here, if I could go back to the chart I was on here. I don't use trend lines too much, but this right here is a very interesting trend line. So we see we can draw a perfect trend on the 2021 high, and we can see where did Bitcoin perfectly retest? Right above that. And I think that the other example I had was, let me see where I think that the other example I had recently in this cycle, was it this? Yeah, here's a great example. Here's a top trend. And then you see what happens when we break out and retest. We go parabolic. So that's on a micro scale right there for anyone watching. That's a micro scale. And then if we zoom out, look at the macro scale of what just happened. So technically speaking, we have such a clear line in the sand to where Bitcoin could come down to 97, 96 in the short term, rocket right back up, in my opinion. And even more so, it could even come down and retest that 80, 89, 92, 93, 90K area, still be fine. This right here is where, watch out below. And I think it's such a clear thing. And I give that a low probability right now. With the way that the market's looking, the strength we've seen, I think it's a very easy, watch out below. All the top callers here recently, I don't see the reason why. I'm more of the idea, just like what Black Widow was saying yesterday in the space. It's like we could sit here and try to call tops all we want, but why not just go with the trend and go with what we've seen? What have we seen the last few inaugurations? We've seen bullishness right after. And it's like, if we want to be bearish, why don't we just let some structure break first? That's just my opinion. That's my approach. And I think that everything looks awesome here. And something this simple here, I know it's simple and people might laugh at it, but stuff works. When we saw it work right here, there was one other example. I'm not sure where it was. Maybe it was on the logarithmic chart. Let's see if I can just pop that up real quick. Was it this one? Oh yeah, here was another one right here. Rejection on our top trend, rejection on our top trend, rejection, came back, retested it, went crazy. So if we see, that's exactly what we're doing right now. And I'm not a Bitcoin maxi by all means, but if we see Bitcoin rocket to 120, 130, 140, we're going to see the rest of the market follow suit. So we need Bitcoin to go higher. We want Bitcoin to go higher. And I think that the next few days here with a strategic Bitcoin reserve, something relating to banking, crypto, executive orders, I think it's just going to be that final trigger where we're going to see that next leg print.
Can I offer the alternative view I've heard just to see? I'm curious your thoughts, because I've also seen, after the inauguration, we end up going parabolic. A lot of people
Totally.
are worried about the quick retracement first and then entering like the last entry is kind of what I've heard. But what was I going to say? The alternative would be everyone's so focused on the news that Bitcoin's priced in for this period of, this next, kind of period of the cycle. Some people are saying maybe it's priced in that when he does make an announcement, instead of trending up, we get wrecked first, and then we range, and then we kind of go up. I'm curious on your thoughts because I've heard that all over the timeline.
I mean, I think it's an important thing to consider. And it's something that I've said a lot is we're going to see how much positioning has been built up. That means longs. How many longs have been built up in anticipation of Trump? But I think at the end of the day, we can only speculate. We don't know what he's going to do. Nobody has a clear idea of what he's going to do. So can that really be fully priced in? That's my question is if we don't even know what he's going to do, how can the market fully price that in? And for people that have been looking at this, we'll call them the boomers, that have been looking on the sidelines, they want to see some regulatory clarity. They've been waiting for that. I think I've seen some polls done that so many sideline capital has been waiting to enter the space, but they don't want to because of the regulatory uncertainty. So if we see any executive orders that kind of clear that up, I don't know. I just feel like me personally, I think it's mid-curving it to expect that we sell off on that. And I'd love to be wrong.
I think one of the main reasons is because people weren't expecting Bitcoin to bounce so fast in the last, relatively recently. Like one thing I'm seeing here in the other charts that's maybe a slight difference is right where your line is a pretty fat pump going into it. I could be wrong. I maybe would need to zoom in more, but I know that's what people have been saying. They're nervous for that first drawdown where alts get wrecked. And they're just like, is it worth holding the position is kind of what I'm hearing a lot of altcoin holders.
It's a good question. But people say don't try to predict going forward looking in the rear view. And I agree with that. But at the same time, you're either going to look at what it's done in the past and have some type of data point, or you're just going to sit there and guess. So if we look at the data points, technically speaking, the market did not go lower after each inauguration. The lows were put in on the inauguration. So, whether that means altcoins underperform or not, I think if any crypto bill comes in and Bitcoin starts rocking into 120, I don't think that the altcoins will outperform right away, so to say. But I think that the whole market's going to go up. I don't see a way where Bitcoin rockets to 115, 120, and the market is flat. I don't see that. As for Bitcoin dominance continuing to rise and on that initial, conversation, I totally see that a possibility. I give Bitcoin dominance another 2% to rise before, we're like, okay, watch out below on altcoins, because to me, it can go back up to this retracement level. Same thing that happened last cycle. So we see this Fibonacci 0.702 retracement rejected there perfectly. And that's kind of when I saw that first leg of outperformance on alts happening in November. So to me, Bitcoin dominance can rocket back to about 61%. And I don't think that would wreck the altcoin market, but it would definitely be a point of if you're trading, you'd probably want to be trading Bitcoin at that moment.
Yeah, it's too bad too, because I made some great gains earlier this year from Bitcoin. Of course, if I was holding the right altcoin, I could have outperformed, but I did very well on Bitcoin. And I was like, dude, hell yeah. And I think people forget that you can make good gains on Bitcoin. It can run. And there is a situation where we have a very Bitcoin Pro announcement where it sends Bitcoin specifically up into parabolic chambers. So that's kind of something in the back of my head as well, because it's a little bit more sturdy. If we get wrecked, the alts always will get wrecked a little bit more than Bitcoin. So it's just something I've been thinking about.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Cade. It's a really good observation. I think that if we just see a strict Bitcoin announcement, Bitcoin dominance is going to rocket and Bitcoin is going to outperform. But that does not mean that the rest of the coins go down. I think that we'd still see a market-wide pump, but I don't think we'd see 10, 20% on all coins. We'd probably maybe see 10, 15% on Bitcoin in a day or two. I think that'd be a thing. And this is the best part about it. And that's why I say I think we're in the funnest part I've ever seen in the crypto cycle. Is it's like a CPI or like a FOMC meeting, but people don't know when it is. It's like we're all just waiting. We don't know when these executive orders are going to come out. Are they going to be about capital gains for US-based cryptos? Are they going to be about just Bitcoin? We don't know. But the only thing I think what we have is yesterday, the Trump team, they bought Ethereum. They bought Link. They bought Aave. If if Trump's legislation is only going to benefit Bitcoin, you'd think that they just load up on Bitcoin like Saylor, you know. And one other thing I was saying is, you know, Saylor's been hanging out with the Trump family. Do we really think that Saylor is using every financial piece of leverage he can to buy 10,000 or what was it, 11,000 Bitcoin just announced today? Is he going to be doing that without any type of little confirmation that Trump's going to make this market rocket? I don't think so, unless he's a complete madman. He's been hanging out with Trump team. He's been hanging out. I think he had a picture with Eric Trump. You're meaning to tell me that they're having conversations and none of it's about Bitcoin? You know, that's a little too far-fetched for me. I'd love to be wrong there once again, but I just look at the signs we have being kind of tight in this crypto market, and the fact that they put $100 million into, you know, the crypto yesterday. Are they really going to do that without any type of probability that it's going higher? You know, exactly. I don't see the Trumps losing there. I mean, they already turned 0 into 70 billion of, you know, value over the weekend. So, you know, are we going to see the Trump family lose? And I just got some news coming through. The SEC's acting chairman announces a formation of a new crypto task force. So here we go. You know, this is we're entering an administration that likes crypto, and I think that, you know, being bearish here, that's fine. You know, this, we might look back and this is a top, but I find it low probability, and I'm positioned to where if we see these orders come out and the market doesn't care at all, okay, you know, we have clear invalidations. There's clear levels to say watch out below. And here we just had a alert come through, XRP moving up 3%. So I think that the XRP community likes the fact that the SEC is no longer attacking it as it's been doing since 2021.
One thing also I noticed was Trump gave Barron props in his speech, and was like, hey, I don't know anything about the young person vote, so I actually just listened to Barron, and he told me to go on Rogan. I was like, interesting. So he's down to just ask people who know more about him, including his child. He's not an expert at anything. So he's going to see Michael Saylor, and he's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like, is there some money glitch here? And then he meets with Saylor, and Saylor's a very good ambassador for Bitcoin. I could definitely see, it is strange. I'm just so perplexed by the fact that he bought ETH instead of Bitcoin, to be honest. But there must be some kind of DeFi play, because I know they're business guys. I know their end goal clearly is to make money and to see what's possible and to keep pushing the envelope. But I was a little bit surprised they didn't buy Bitcoin at all, compared to the amount of, they bought wrapped Bitcoin. But
yeah, well, here, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Let me take a quick screenshot, pull this up here on my chart.
Yeah, we'll get to some of these questions in a few minutes. I saw a couple of really good ones. What's up, Seuss? I see Seuss in the house. Yeah, we were talking about you a second ago. Yeah, my bad on the Trump call. Did not expect that to go as far as it did. I am fully able to be. I'm okay to say that was an L. That was an L. All right.
But yeah, if we look here, the reason why, Cade, they only bought Ethereum-based stuff. That's the reason. It's because they had their pre-sale on the Ethereum blockchain. So it seems like they didn't want to bridge or kind of move money off that chain. And to prove that, they bought wrapped Bitcoin.
Got it.
So instead of actually buying real Bitcoin, they just bought Bitcoin on Ethereum. And then all of these other ones are Ethereum-based tokens, which TRX, I'm not sure. That's its own chain. I'm not sure if there's a wrap version of
Tron.
But essentially, these are all Ethereum-based tokens. And in my honest opinion, I see someone said Saylor met with Eric, Brad Garlinghouse met with Trump himself. I have a feeling that they also have some money on other chains, but nobody knows that yet because we don't have their wallets. So people are concerned, they didn't buy XRP, this and that. I'm pretty sure that they have tokens on other chains. They just have not announced them. That's at least my, kind of view of why they only bought these Ethereum-based tokens. So for them to stay excited, this is from Donald Trump Jr. Excited for the future ahead. Hey guys, we just bought $100 million of crypto. We're excited for the future. I mean, to be bearish here, I don't know. If I look back and this was a top, man, I'm fine with it because everything is pointing to we're going higher.
Damn. But it is interesting because there are so many tokens. One thing I'll say is I actually did liquidate small coin positions, but it's not because I got full bearish. Part of it was because I was like, dude, I need to make sure I'm in the right place because of exactly what you said, which is some altcoins are not going to perform. There's too many options now. There are clear winners, and there's not even close,
They're not at all, Cade. And over the last few weeks, I've mentioned that about disparity and the dispersion and how most of these altcoins, they've underperformed. And last night I scanned all the alts and I put a little pink tag on all the alts that look just terrible. So if we look at just Polkadot here, I mean, look at this since
Oh no.
2021. Look at Aptos. Near was doing good, but to me right now, Near needs to show its strength, because
It really
retrace
does.
that whole pump, it's definitely something I'm keeping eyes on. A few other,
It's gonna really be. It's pretty much dependent on when a real AI pump comes. If Near shows the strength it should, it will do fine.
Totally.
If it doesn't, that's gonna be really, really bad for the charts.
Totally, 100%. But yeah, I mean, look at Tia. It's like, whew, we're on a weekly.
Lord.
It's like this has been hugging its support. It's like if you held Tia, since the summer, I mean, man, you're down 80% and you're looking at XRP go up 200%. It's a tough one. So everybody that's watching, if you're holding these altcoins, be very careful. And that doesn't mean that these altcoins are not going to pump in the next few months, but it just means that anytime they get a little bit of pump, they just have retraced this entire cycle.
Yeah.
So you really want to be looking at outperformance. Create some spaghetti charts like I have here. These spaghetti charts here show you the outperformance. So I just want to keep reiterating that these altcoins, a lot of them, they really have been weak. The worst one is Cosmos. Look at Cosmos. It's down.
Cosmos was so bullish for so long. I thought Cosmos was going to send.
Look, it's back to where it was in October 2020. I mean, Cosmos, people say, why is the timeline so bearish? The timeline's so bearish because they're probably holding these altcoins that look like this when XRP looks like that. I mean, it's a tough one. It's totally a tough one. And someone just said very few will make all-time highs. I agree. I don't see like something like Atom. If this makes an all-time high, Bitcoin's probably going to be at 300K. We would need to see see this market go ballistic to see these coins get pulled up the way that they did in 2021.
Yeah. And that's all about risk reward. Like I see Seuss in here saying, try to trust myself. Like the only reason, Seuss, I'm not mad that I told you not to get in is because it was more a strategy thing that I was upset about with you. I was just like, bro, what are you doing? You don't do this. You don't ape into a coin at all-time highs on a fully speculative asset. I was like, you don't do that with the amount of money you're about to throw in. And I think that's important for this stream because if you're holding 75 bags of altcoins, you're down on 74 of them, probably. You know what I mean? So like, that's so important to notice. Like Dom literally pulled up like 3 coins and he said, these outperformed everybody. So if you're holding any of them, you're getting cooked. If you held Bitcoin, you're up. And it's like, that is a mind-blowing, I think, conclusion for a lot of people who came in last cycle. Because for me, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just buy all the alts in the bear market. We should all rock it. And if you missed the bear market at least, and you came in towards the beginning of this bull cycle, you're still not even performing that well. And I think there's a lot of people saying, WTF? Like, what did I do wrong?
100%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, look at WIF. The WIF chart. I mean, it's down 75% since November.
Holy moly!
Even Rune, that was such a great one. I had a trade here, it played out perfect, but after that, I mean, it was just terrible. So yeah, I think that the days of everything pumping are over. I've said this for months and months and months. I just think that the market's maturing, and it's good. We need the market to mature. The fact that everything would pump, I think that those days are over. Now, that doesn't mean if Bitcoin rockets to 150, we'll see this on a lot of these, sure. But, if you zoom out and you look at what else has outperformed, you would have been better just holding Bitcoin. Everyone tries to hold these altcoins for beta performance, and there's only been a few that have outperformed Bitcoin, So, so yeah, I know we're getting towards the hour here. I wanted to maybe switch over to my browser just to show a little bit more of the different types of analysis I show here. Let me see if I could stop sharing.
Yeah,
and then present.
Someone says, I see Eternal saying the new moon is January 29th and full moon February 12th. I think based on past, you might see big moves. I can't explain the full moon, dude. I cannot explain it. I can say this, personal standpoint, weird stuff always happens to me around full moon. So I can see something happening. It's probably not something you want to base all your trading on, but definitely around full moons, I've seen some weird action going on.
Yeah, it's definitely some good confluence, but I don't think it should be your main indicator.
Yeah. I agree.
But let's see if this pops up here. Can you see my screen now?
Let's see. Yes, there it is.
Perfect. So yeah, just before we move on, I know a lot of people in here probably want some more XRP talk. As I was saying the last few days, in the last week I posted this, XRP is just at such an important level. So for it to cool off here, here's it compared to gold. Here's it compared to the NASDAQ 100. We're at these important resistances here across the board. And if we even scroll down here, here's it compared to Tesla. So we're butting up against all of these important major resistances. Here it is compared to USD, and it's at its all-time high. So, in my opinion, I think that, of course, it's dependent on Bitcoin, depending on what's happening here with the Trump, these executive orders. But, I think that XRP, it's still poised to probably outperform everything again if the market goes higher. And I know it's crazy to say because it's already up 500%. If you're watching, I'm not necessarily telling you to ape in up here. The time to ape in was, 30, 40, 50 cents the last few years, but that doesn't mean that there's not money to still be made. And I think it's dependent on the rest of the market. But yeah, last thing I wanted to cover here is I look at these order books here a lot. I'm not sure if I talk too much about this with you, Cade, but this is how I look at the order book. And it kind of shows me where there's a lot of orders sitting and there's a lot of orders either on the bid side or the ask side. And if we see, sometimes it's a little funky here. But if we see Bitcoin here, I'm not sure what's going on here. 1 second.
This is something I really want to learn more about, by the way, the order book, because I see you posting them.
Yeah.
A lot of people like jump in on the, they want to give comments, but I have no idea. Like, I don't know enough about this part of it. Like, this is confusing to me, really confusing to me.
Yeah, this is something that people love. I posted this a lot and people love this type of stuff. And essentially what it's showing is anything below price is going to be a sitting buy order, and anything above price is going to be a sitting sell order. So if we see here, yesterday when Bitcoin came up, what happened? It absorbed a lot of sell orders. And then guess what? We rolled back over. Yep. And then look last night. Where do we bounce? Right where there was a nice level of buy order.
Wow.
So it's a very interesting thing. I mean, even right here we can see when it broke below 90K. What happened? We basically filled a bunch of orders on Binance Spot Market. People were patient. Look at how long. We could see how long these orders were sitting here for weeks. People were waiting.
Wow, I see now. Okay, wow. That is the cool. That's one of the coolest things I've seen.
Yeah, this is some top level analysis. Super,
dude, this is
important. This is, to me, the most powerful piece of analysis in crypto because this is what moves markets. The order book is what moves markets. People say, it's like, for example, right here, if these orders weren't here and we saw the same level of buying, Bitcoin probably would have went to 115.
Absolutely.
But the fact that there was a bunch of sell orders, that causes more resistance. So when people call support and resistance, they're just looking on the chart. But to look at true support and resistance, you have to look at the orders because that's what creates support and that's what creates resistance. So this is one other indicator I use here. It's called the order book skew. So essentially it's taking all of the orders within 10% of the current price and plotting the skew of them. So right here, we could see that there was, about 3,000 more Bitcoin right here wanting to be bought within 10% than wanting to be sold. We see how empty the order book was above, but you see how loaded it was below. And sure enough, that gave us a bounce. And then once it came back again, same concept, super, super bullish here. And it gave us that nice bounce. And it's kind of the market likes to go to the path of least resistance. And it's one of my favorite things. And if we just keep scrolling back here, I mean, it's a really accurate indicator. Like you could see anytime that the orders spike up pretty high, it provides a bounce. And then even same thing right here, the bear orders spike up kind of high. We need to cool off to gain some more steam.
And it kind of explains why, like, even on a meme coin chart, almost like a psychological, it almost gives you the understanding. It's like, oh wait, this is why we bounce every time. Like this is why every time we hit a support from past support, we still, in the future we'll hit, and it's like that's an important level to pay attention to. That's how I've always traded the memes. I'm like, okay, like last time we bounced 4 times at this exact level, so we'll probably bounce again because for some reason people have buys lined up right here. And it's kind of like more of like a not a gut feeling, but you're kind of just like low level TA. But this order book basically explains what like the psychology behind that.
That is exactly right, Cade. You're understanding it there well. And this is a very overlooked piece of analysis. And, you know, when I post this stuff, people go crazy over it. I think my most popular tweet was back in December, about 3,000 likes. And it was because of an XRP order book analysis. People absolutely loved that.
How do you get this? How much is this? Where do you get this?
This is on Trading Light, and I think it's $35 a month. So it's separate from, it's separate from TradingView.
I'm buying this. This is fantastic.
But here, let me just emphasize one other thing. So if I do this right here, we can see that this is plotting the amount of orders in the range that I selected. So you see right when these orders, the sell orders start tapering off, we could see that all right here. That's when XRP has the ability to go higher. This was back in November. Same thing happened right here. We see all of these sell orders. And then what happened? We can see these sell orders start getting pulled. They start getting pulled. So what happens? It's a lot easier for buyers to push it higher. So we could see, bam, it goes lower, XRP goes higher. Same thing right here. We can see that the orders start tapering off. And then once they taper off to a certain point, bulls step in and it's like, okay, very easy path of least resistance. And then up here is where I actually called a local top on XRP. And I said, hey guys, we have about 30 million XRP up here. This is going to take some relentless buying to get through. And I basically said, hey, this is like, you know, this is a little bit of a warning signal that we need to chill out. And sure enough, what happened? We chilled out. And throughout that time, look at the orders.
People bought and bought and bought, though, you know, after that.
Well, that as well, but more so, all of these sell orders started getting pulled. So what happens is XRP is like, okay, well, it's a lot easier to go up now. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
Wait, so at that level, people's sell orders started going through. So it starts pushing the price down, and that's kind of what causes, because people want to buy still. So it comes down, and then people are kind of just fighting. That's like, I think when people are saying the bulls and the bears are fighting, it's like exactly like everyone's got orders, and they're kind of battling to see who's got more. Who's got more power, and then eventually one wins out, I guess.
That is 100% right. And we could look right here on the same thing, the skew. We could see how negative that skew got right here. It was, you know, negative 30 to 20 million more sell orders. So that was a bearish signal. And then you see when the skew turns positive right here, bam, perfect low. Skew turns positive, perfect low. Skew turns positive as well, perfect low. And it just continues to work like that. So that's what I'm watching here. I'm sure I'll be making some posts over the next few days. You know, we have some sell orders up here, but on a good note, they're starting to get pulled. So it's the exact thing that we usually see when XRP is like, okay, I'm able to go a little bit higher. And then one last thing here, just wanted to look at this right here is another in-depth chart. Let me see if I could refresh this real quick because it sometimes has some stale data. This is something I made custom, spent me many hours to do. This is on Agger. It's actually free, but it took a lot of coding to make these. And I essentially can look at the buying through each of the markets. And we can see these are all the perp markets. These are all the spot markets. And a lot of people saw that XRP's pump was driven all by the spot market. So people were actually buying coins. They weren't just levering up on the perp contracts, which Bitcoin sometimes likes to move just perps. But XRP here, it's been very spot driven. And then the last point I wanted to make here is we see this yellow line here. I know it's a little bit hidden, but this is Binance. And Binance Binance is the true mover of XRP. So we can see right when Binance starts bidding, what happens? We start rallying up. Wow. Right when Binance starts selling, they stopped bidding, they stopped buying. Look at what happened. We continue all day.
Wait, do we know why?
It's because they're the most liquid and the highest volume market for XRP. So technically speaking, they control the market. Because a lot of people don't talk about that. It's like we have all these exchanges, but only a few control the market, you know? And the way to prove that is look at Bitstamp at Coinbase. They've been buying. I mean, they don't slow down on their buying. They just keep buying. But Coinbase and Bitstamp, they love XRP, but it's not enough to keep pulling us higher. So I'm going to be watching when Binance comes in. When Binance comes in and starts bidding this back up, I'll probably be calling, okay, XRP is ready to show its next breakout. But yeah, I think
I've got goosebumps right now, Tom. I've literally got goosebumps right now. I have literally learned like 2 years worth of information in the last hour. So holy smokes.
I love to hear that. I'm sure I hope some of the listeners as well learned about this. And I'll tell you what, I've tried almost every piece of analysis in this market. In 2017, I started with Bollinger Bands, you know, trend lines, patterns, RSI, MACD, stochastic RSI. I did it all. And as I've continued to kind of evolve, I've been led to the final boss, and the final boss is order flow. So for anyone that's watching,
order flow.
For anyone that's watching, these heat maps here, these order book skews, looking at the CVDs here, these volume deltas, this right here is, in my opinion, the true analysis of a market. Everything else is on top. This is showing us what's actually moving the market. Everything else is like, okay, let's just look at price. But if we want to look under the hood, we're looking at these order flow and we're looking at these heat maps here. And as all my followers have seen, I've shown great success with it. So for anyone that's watching, definitely, I'm not saying jump right into this. This is definitely something where you need to have a good foundation understanding of regular TA, regular charts, regular price action. And then to put this on top, it's by far the most powerful piece of analysis I've ever learned.
Dude, thank you for telling me this. And I hope everyone in this stream goes immediately. If you have $35 a month, this is insane. This is such an edge. I can't even believe this. And I can't believe I've talked to so many traders, and you're the first person to really, maybe they do, maybe they keep it to themselves, but I've never seen this before.
I will say it's it's not hidden, but it's definitely not something a lot of people use.
Wow. Interesting. And that's probably why some people win. I mean, you called I've never, if people didn't know better, they would think you're crazy with some of the claims you've made. Because they're like, what are you talking? Like, what is that backed by? And then you're like, well, actually, I have, if you read it, I have an actual analysis here, but I don't think most people are willing to go down into the depths and find those, get to the final boss,
100%. And this is the final boss, guys. Take it from me. Everybody has their own opinion, but on the hundreds and thousands of hours that I've done of analysis, this has been what's clicked it all for me. This was, okay, instead of just looking at candlesticks, let's look at what's moving the market. The order book is what moves the market. The market orders right here that I'm watching here, these are market orders. This is what moves the market. So hope everyone enjoyed that and it was easily digestible. It's definitely, it's definitely an awesome thing. And just to recap, I think that these next few weeks are going to be awesome. And I think that it's going to be, whether the price goes up or down, I still think it's going to be fun and awesome. It's definitely going to be fun and awesome. So
yeah, well, I was going to say here, let me, I'm going to pull up my screen just real quick to pull up one thing before we wrap. It'll take 2 seconds, but I want to make sure to do so.
Totally.
Where's it at? And then we'll pop off here for anyone. And by the way, I see people asking, is this available? Yes, this will be available. You can rewatch this anywhere on X, on YouTube. It's both there. So you can, feel free. I highly recommend actually, even if you stayed for the whole one, you go back. Cause I'm going to go back. Actually, I'm going to find sound bites because honestly, I was taking notes this whole time. I've got about 12 different spots where I'm going to go back and listen again. And I'll probably pull out a clip or have someone do that with me. But yeah, highly recommend you guys give that a watch. In terms of, is he going to share the app? I doubt that he's going to share it because that probably took a very long time or would be very expensive if you were to purchase,
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, this is my edge, so I'll keep it that way. But this is the first time that at least people watching this, I gave a little bit of an insight of how I look at the market. Definitely is only probably 15% of my approach, but it was a very top level good approach. And this right here, of course, I'm not gatekeeping this. Anyone could go sign up for this, and there's a lot of testing and there's a lot of learning and back testing. It took me, once again, probably hundreds of hours to understand how this all works and how it goes together. But anyone can just go sign up for Trading Light there and take a look at this awesome stuff.
And then name of the indicator. Well, order book is one. I'm going to go to immediately after buy the thing. And I think you said Trading Light, right?
Yeah, Trading Light is the platform here, and there's a lot of they have a great guide, forums, tutorials on how to, because it is a complicated platform. But with a little bit of practice, you could totally understand it. And then the indicator, maybe he's talking about these. These are called cumulative volume deltas. So essentially what they're doing is they're taking a cumulative sum of all the buy and sell orders. So if these are going up, that means that there's more buy orders than sell orders. And then this right here is just showing the delta of them. So instead of looking at cumulative, I could kind of go over and say, look here on XRP, Kraken just bought a bunch in the last 5 minutes. Binance, Coinbase, and we can kind of see who's selling, who's buying. And then these are just the cumulative. And then these add up all of these and then all of these. So this gives me a running total of the spot market and then versus the perp market.
Very nice. Very nice. And actually, Kevin, yes, I can. That's exactly what I was going to pull up here. So if you guys enjoyed this stream and you learned something, I bet you did. I definitely did. Please give Dom a follow. He has rocketed in the last few weeks here to 20,000 followers. I'm going to put out I think his followers is going to be just like the XRP chart, to be honest. And that's purely not off hopium. That's just pure analysis and just total badass charts and analysis.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fun last few months. I'm very happy with my performance, but with a lot of practice, everybody can do this. It's not just like I'm special or anything. It just takes practice and just takes screen time, watching the price and just learning and learning. But yeah, appreciate it, guys. It looks like I just crossed 20K throughout the stream.
Let's go, dude. That's awesome. And by the way, I also recommend you guys, I assume there's a YouTube link in this link tree, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's my first link. Yep.
Let me pull this up. So if you guys go into his account, and I don't know, I believe you have a group. You already have a group. It might be paid or free, but I very, very highly recommend you guys check that out if he does have one. Here's his YouTube. He's got Trading View, Bybit, very nice. Yeah. And then was there some kind of community you were maybe opening? For some reason, I thought.
Yeah, maybe down the line, but no, not right now. Everything
Gotcha.
about mine is on either YouTube or Twitter. Yep.
Yeah, and it's free right now, guys. So if you're on YouTube, you have YouTube accounts, and you're on this stream and you're watching it, go give him a follow at Dom's Market Flow. Let me actually copy this into the chat, and I'll also put this link in there. And if you're on X, I will comment below right after this is over. I will comment his YouTube link to go to his actual channel below the Twitter stream as well. And I put it in the comments here for anyone. If you're on YouTube, you should be able to copy and paste that into it. So please give him a follow, give him a subscription. And let's run these numbers up, man. There's a lot of people on crypto land who almost made me leave the space because of how bad they are in terms of just bad human beings. And people like Dom make me want to stay. So Dom, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, no, I'm very appreciated, man. Thanks for sharing everything. I hope everybody learned something. And yeah, excited for some more to come.
Absolutely. Guys, if you haven't already, give Wolf a follow. If you like spaces or streams, we're doing like 20 a day, feels like. I love doing them. But this one we're going to try and keep this one rolling each week. I have a lot of fun, just kind of laid back. But if you guys enjoy them, let us know. Leave a comment, tag Dom in a tweet or something. Ask some questions. We're pretty much on the timeline 24/7, it feels like. So we'll see you all in the next one. All right. 3,